And this clip is all about the question, are we fishing for largemouth bass wrong? And I know that sounds kind of bombastic and it sounds kind of crazy. What do you mean? How can that be? But actually, two of my newer subscribers, a brand new subscriber, JC Fishing MD, and someone that subscribed last week, Fishing with MG, both really had some good feedback to give me that kind of wanted me to maybe, I don't know, get going with this video and just get it out there. In the case with JC Fishing MD, I think it was yesterday, I left a comment that on his video that, you know, if you're catching smaller bass, the most consistent way to remedy that issue if you want to catch bigger ones is to fish deeper. And then also in the case with Fishing with MG, he watched one of my videos where I was saying that you should fish deeper as opposed to shallower, that would be my approach. There's two really good reasons for justifying fishing deeper. And number one is bigger bass are deeper year round. If this is the surface and this is the bottom, from ice out to ice on, that's where they're at. They feed less and there's bigger forage there, so they're deeper year round. Obviously they're going to be shallow during the active periods of warm weather in the lunar chart. Also, another thing is the deeper waters don't get pressured for bass. When you're starting to learn presentations, I can definitely testify to the fact that there are presentations that I've had tremendous success with deeper that I haven't had hardly any success with at all shallower. And there's so many techniques that we can use. There's so many crankbaits and jigs and spinner baits and swim baits, and the list just goes on and on and on right now in 2018 of all the stuff we can plug in to fish these waters deeper, to get where these fish are at year round. So I wanted to thank those two subscribers for the good feedback that they've given me, and I'm going to just basically give you a little chronology of bass fishing real quick as to why we're pounding the shoreline for bass. I was actually watching probably the biggest name YouTube bass fisherman there is yesterday, and he was in a kayak, and what does he slam through? Hit that points. Well, I don't fish down south, so I don't know how effective points are, but I could definitely tell you that overall, north, south, east, or west, a point itself is not going to be a huge draw for largemouth, unless there's a deeper drop-off adjacent to it. A point is going to be a piece of structure that holds a smaller fish, because points are usually shallow and so forth. I'm not an expert on fishing them, though I probably casted just about as many as anybody else. And not only that point's going to get beat to death with the fishing pressure, like we had mentioned before. And to start out, fishing pressure is a tough variable. If you're in like your first 10 years of bass fishing, you know, once you get over that hump in a couple years, or maybe less, you know, hopefully, at least it was for me a long time, you get a lot more confident, and pressure automatically becomes built into your presentation, so you don't have to really plan for pressure. But back to the chronology that I was talking about why we're at where we're at with bass fishing, pounding the shallows for bass, is tournament style largemouth bass fishing has become the absolute norm. Wait a minute, hold on, you know, what do I know that a pro doesn't? Who are you, right? Just a writer, right? Well, the thing about tournament fishing, and yes, there are many tournament anglers. Tournament anglers have given us all of the above that I mentioned before, all these rods and swim baits and crankbaits and soft plastics that we can plug in to whatever it is we want to do. Even if we're not hitting tournaments, we're doing kayaks or shoreline or john boat or anything. You're fishing in a fiberglass and not in a tournament. But the thing about probably since 1990, so we're probably talking almost 30 years, is tournament style fast run and gun presentations have become the norm. So to somebody fishing a deeper drop off, I know Tommy Biffle is I do know a little bit about pros, these legendary pros, and Tommy Biffle just comes to mind right off the top of my head. He actually fishes bigger jigs deeper, so he's fishing slower, and he has that Biffle bug that has the the bait that just swings on appendages instead of just going up or down or left or right. And he was very good at it, and he even talks about the difficulty of it. You got to get really good if you're going to catch bigger ones and settle for fewer bass, bigger. And of course, you know, even Rick Clunn with his hook set, I actually modified my hook set to accommodate the shorter hook set as opposed to a wider one. So pros have definitely influenced my approach, the baits I use, and on and on and on. But the point I'm trying to make is this: before 1990, there was pretty much a whole school of thought that revolved around bass fishing that really included tournaments or was almost exclusive from it. There were people who were extremely knowledgeable writers who just didn't want to fish tournaments, and they learned from locals about techniques and things like that on their home bodies of water. And these locals really didn't want to see people on the water. These were diehards like most of my viewers are, or like how I am. We go on vacation. We don't necessarily, we work our jobs. We don't want to see 9 million boats on the water where we're at. You know what I mean? We kind of want to keep it to ourselves. And there's fishing that way. But pretty much tournament style fishing since 1990 onward has become the norm. And really, that's where the stitching technique kind of came from. And just pretty much, from before tournaments. And, really structure fishing, just easy structure fishing, deeper, slower, more often. It just can't get simpler than that to catch those big bass. And remember, structure is what's on the bottom. The stuff that is cover is going to be your timber, a point is a piece of structure, but it's a minor point. Your emergent weeds are pretty much cover. And so forth. Lily pads are cover. Yes, someone will tell me, I caught a 5-pound bass in these lily pads on a frog. Okay, that's going to be summer active period. That frog presentation isn't going to work at all after ice out, more than likely. But you can work that worm in those deeper drop-offs, or if you like your tube, your Cinco, for those bigger bass. So pretty much I just wanted to get that out there. I'm not saying anybody's fishing right or fishing wrong, but are we really fishing wrong for bass in 2018 when we have all the tools, depth finders, the knowledge from the old writers, the old guard that I try to relay to you? And the thing that's amazing about the knowledge and the science behind it is it's free. You don't need a depth finder. You don't need to bump up your depth finder if you're bass fishing. And of course, if you're fishing on a bigger reservoir in California, if I had a California viewer or subscriber, I don't know, you're going to need a depth finder. But for the types of natural lakes in the Midwest, the South, for the most part, non-reservoir, you can put these theories into practice and have it your way. And so pretty much, leave me some feedback, and I should have some time before I start a fishing article to get back. And take a look at what else anybody else has said. Are we fishing for bass wrong? I'm not going to tell you how I think, because I don't tell anybody how to fish, but I could definitely tell you that when I started fishing deeper, slower, more often, the sizes on the bass just really, really started to skyrocket. Or even if you're fishing secondary drop-offs, before you hit the shallows. And that's not to say that some of your YouTube pros who fish shallow a lot don't know about working deep and working in shallow. It's just they really don't accentuate it. They really don't talk about it. And I almost sort of glamorize it, right, as part of the big bass lifestyle, to really key in on and get more big bass. So I've picked up like 7 subscribers, I think, in the past 4 days. Thank you, everyone, for subscribing. Thank you for the feedback on the In Fisherman Rod article. I still can't believe that I'm in the magazine. It's been great. It was a great year of writing. Had a cover article on Midwest Outdoors. Got the In Fisherman article done. Looking forward to doing a lot more writing, and most importantly, getting better, more fish catching footage on YouTube. I didn't get that much last year. It was sort of a side project attached to the writing. Now I'm going to make it more of a focus. So thank you, subscribers, viewers, and looking forward to reading your feedback. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you're interested in this kind of stuff, different theories and approaches to largemouth bass, please consider subscribing. Take care, and we're a month away from most parts of the country from bass fishing. So, you know, now's a good time during the off season to think about some different tactics and approaches, and ask me some questions you may have. So take care. Thank you always. Have a great season.